Cool, so this is another unboxing of one of my prototypes that arrived from the Game Crafter today. This is Any Other Names. This was one of the earlier games that I designed when I first decided that I was going to start designing games again. I used to design a lot of games when I was younger to entertain my family members, not necessarily board games per se, but a variety of different games that included elements that are currently in tabletop games. And this one here was actually inspired by something that I do to tease my mother, which is I call pretty much all flowers pansies, particularly publicly at garden centres, so that she has to explain that those aren't pansies. And so the concept of having to describe flowers without using their real name came out of that. And the name is a reference to A Rose by Any Other Name, which is a Shakespearean quote. In other words, doesn't matter what you call it, it still smells as sweet. And what we have here is the first printed version of that game. Again, more nice paper packing, much appreciated. That can go in the compost or in the recycling, or it can be used as kindling for the fire, all of which are great useful applications. So, as opposed to plastic, which just is plastic. This is really fun seeing these designs being real, because this one here, this whole rose design, is something that I originally put together as a fabric design for Copper Catkin, which is my brand where I do fabric design, and these roses were all drawn from photos I took when we first visited Portland in 2018 at the Rose Garden. Portland is known as Rose City, and so I thought it was pretty fitting to memorialize our visit by drawing roses. And then I thought, well, they make a pretty good back for the cards, particularly when we're talking about A Rose by Any Other Name would smell as sweet. So on the other side, these are my first attempt at vector drawing. Now, vectors are basically dots and lines that join them up, and that sounds pretty straightforward, but it's completely different from when you're used to drawing on paper, and the lines do computery things and mathsy things instead of doing normal drawing things. So it was quite a challenge to get things that actually looked like something I would draw. And then on top of that, in order to get colour in between, you actually have to draw overlapping shapes rather than just drawing what you see. And then you colour in each overlapping shape. So yeah, overall, getting this kind of a result from something that I had just taught myself is satisfactory. Yeah, well, we've got a bunch of cards, tiles. I'm pretty happy with this, and obviously the box looks spectacular. So these are the same illustrations, and what is amazing about vectors that you can't do as well when you draw something with lines is you can make them any size, and these lines won't change thickness, and the colors still stay the same, and you don't get pixelation and all of the other problems I was having when I was learning to translate my artwork from hand-drawn to digital. So Any Other Name is kind of a milestone for me in that way. Anyway, that's an introduction to that.